Hey, what's up, YouTube? I want to talk to you today about something that I've been seeing on the media lately, conservative media, that they have been perpetuating a half truth, which is a whole lie, and that is that the Ku Klux Klan was founded by Democrats. And I've been hearing this a lot from relatives and coworkers who are conservative, and they listen to nothing but conservative talk radio and media, Fox News, Rush Limbaugh. And this is a perfect example of fake news and half truths. Now, it has some truth into it, but they're not, the vast majority of Americans do not really understand the polar shift in the political parties, and I'm going to try to explain it right now. Yes, the Ku Klux Klan was founded by Democrats, but you have to take in context when, and looking at a map of the United States, of the Electoral College specifically, the Democrat regions and voters of the country. Abraham Lincoln, for example, Republican, right? But today, 100% without a shadow of a doubt, Abraham Lincoln would be a Democrat. Look at JFK and Lyndon Baines Johnson, LBJ. Rich Yankee, Texas governor. You think they'd be Democrats today? No, they'd be Republicans. Martin Luther King, which makes Martin Luther King just such a dynamic, just inspiration, because think about it. Martin Luther King was a Democrat, but not ideologically, and the Democratic Party before the Civil Rights Act were the Republicans. And that's hard to kind of get your mind around. But imagine Martin Luther King being a Republican, because that's basically what he was. Because the Democratic Party before the Civil Rights Act were the Republicans, and the Republicans were the Democrats. And a lot of people have never really thought about that. They've never really discussed that. But yet, when you listen to Fox News, Republicans, they'll love to say that, the racist Democrats, they were founded by, Democrats. The racist Ku Klux Klan, they're founded by Democrats. And they're right, but yet they're not. It's a half truth. Because after the Civil Rights Act, all of the Southern Democrats, from Texas, down to the East Coast, those are all Democratic states. The states of, the Confederate states. They had historically always been Democratic. And, Abraham Lincoln and the abolitionists were Republicans. But after the 1963 or 64 Civil Rights Act that I believe LBJ signed after JFK was murdered, the white, racist Southern Democrats felt betrayed, because now African Americans were deemed as humans and equals under the law. And they felt betrayed, and they flipped parties, and they all became Republicans. And the only proof that you need is to look up electoral college maps of presidential elections before the Civil Rights Act and after the Civil Rights Act. So all these people that are watching Fox News, majority in the South, they like, it sounds really good to them to say, oh, the Democrats were the ones who, founded the Ku Klux Klan. They're the racist ones, not me, not the Republican Party. We're all for black people. But yet, if you look at the electoral colleges of the states who were voting, just follow the votes, follow the electoral college, because it'll show you the truth of what the conservative media is not saying. And I hope I explain that to where you understand it. And it's confusing, especially when the mainstream media can be fake news. And this is a perfect example of conservative media fake news. They're the conservatives are really quick to point out fake news when it's coming from the liberal media, and they should point it out. When fake news is fake news. But when I see the conservative media putting out fake news, half truths, it's not, and that's the thing, where it's a slippery slope, because it's not technically fake news, because yes, the Democrats were they did originate the Ku Klux Klan Party, found the Ku Klux Klan Party. But it's taken out of context, in considering that most people don't know or don't realize that the political parties have flip-flopped in for their ideologies and their philosophies. Going back to the Civil Rights Act specifically is what caused it. And when you see, conservative media needs to be held accountable just to the same standard as they're trying to hold the liberal media accountable. And the vast majority of Americans and human beings are zombies. They just want to regurgitate. They take everything they hear off of the news, Fox News and CNN, as complete truths, and it's not. A lot of the times it's a half truth, which in reality makes it a full lie if it's only talking about half the truth, and it's trying to manipulate you in the way that you're thinking. And I've had to try to explain this to my boss at work, several coworkers who are Republicans, and then they would hear on the radio, all that the Democrats are the racist ones. Well, it's taken out of context, and it's a half truth, because yes, they're right. 100 years ago, the southern states were all Democrats. So yes, the Democratic Party was created the Ku Klux Klan, but yet the ancestors of those same people today are voting Republican, and they don't realize, going back to the Civil Rights Act specifically, that the parties, the people, the Southern Democrats felt betrayed because of the Civil Rights Act, and they are so against integration that they flipped political parties and have been voting Republican ever since. And you go back, you look at electoral college map, and you will see the truth of the flip of Southern states voting from Democrat to Republican immediately because of the Civil Rights Act. A lot of people, Democrat and Republican, don't know that. I have a useless history degree, so I've kind of seen maps and discussed things like this that hasn't been able to help me make any money, but I get these tidbits of information that the vast majority of Americans do not know about, and the media knows this, and so they manipulate the masses of American society to try to get them to justify them to voting a certain way or believing a certain way. And it's easy to say, tell someone, and it sounds condescending to say, oh, you have to do your research, or you don't know, you don't know your history, you need to do some more research. People are quick to throw that around as kind of a put down, saying that you're dumb or stupid. And I don't want to do that, because it's not the case. There's a lot of people out there a lot more intelligent than I am who are Republicans. I'm not putting down the Republican Party, or I'm not a Republican or a Democrat. I'm for the truth, to help the American people out. And when you see the media, from conservative media or liberal media, when I see them putting half truths out over the airwaves to where millions of people are just taking it in and regurgitating it, put this on. You won't ever see this video on Fox News. This video of me talking to you about this. You won't see this on Fox News. My platform, I might get, 100 views maybe on this video. And that's okay, because the 100 people who see it, they're going to start seeing the world differently. And hopefully the people who hear this video and know the truth about how the parties have flip-flopped, that Abraham Lincoln would be a Democrat today. LBJ and JFK, Martin Luther King, back in their time, even though they were Democrats, they would be Republicans today. So it's kind of hard to get your mind around. But hopefully, when you hear something that is a false truth or is misleading, which makes it a lie, to try to deceive the people who are listening to it, it's up to the people of YouTube to put the truth out there, and then hopefully a few people will hear it and try to inform the other people, the vast majority of people who are just watching CNN and Fox News, that are very leaning to one ideology, political ideology or the other. Which is not good, because they're not in touch with, I hope to believe, the vast majority of Americans who are moderates, either Republican or Democrats, but I don't know if that's true. But I hope I was able to communicate that to where it makes a little sense. And if you hear somebody say, oh, well, the Democrats are the racist ones, they started the Ku Klux Klan, you'll have a little bit more knowledge to be like, yes, well, that's true, but it's taken out of context and it's a half truth. And then hopefully you can explain it to them to where they'll understand. And just tell them to go look at the Electoral College, maps of the Electoral College. Will that keep them? Will that stop them from spreading the half truths and the fake news? Probably not. But we gotta tell the truth out there, especially if you're on a platform such as CNN or Fox News. All right, YouTube, take care, and don't forget to please like and subscribe. I appreciate it. All right, bye.